Hey peeps, welcome to another video. Today it is my April lookbook, and April was a 50-50 month. I made an actual fairly surprising amount of things. I have quite a large pile of things here next to me, but 10 of them are t-shirts which were made in 3 days. So technically I actually haven't made very many things in April at all. So I intended April to be top month, and I started out with this kitty cat print top, and it is the McCall's, I think it's the 7542. I'm not sure if I've got that right or not. I think I got this one free, this pattern free with a magazine, and it was one that everybody has made. I like the sleeve options, but I don't particularly like wearing tight-fitting sleeves or sleeves that restrict my movement, so I decided to make it into a sleeveless top because I thought it was pretty much a really good base for a shell kind of just cropped top, and I did want to make this cropped. So this is actually an inch longer than the waistline on the pattern, and it sits on my natural waistline, and I want this to be about an inch longer than it is. So I need to do some tweaks to this pattern, but I do really like it. I think the cat print is really cute. I have got enough left that I can go in and add another band, and I may even add some piping around the bottom of it to make it more of a feature, because I'm not going to take the time to pattern match the cats. That's just not going to happen. The other thing that I did is I used some ribbon instead of a button loop or a hook and eye at the back. I do like this top. I will be wearing this top over the summer months with some of my high-waisted trousers, but I want to completely restart this pattern from scratch. So I had traced a kind of an odd size. I had done some weird things around the kind of like armholes, and it kind of you can't see it, but it was just a bit of a weird shape. So I want to go back and I want to retrace this pattern. This one comes with cup sizes done for you, so I'm going to go back into it and kind of retrace. And the other thing I want to do is I want to draft a facing that goes from the underarm, so it's an all-in-one facing for the armholes and for the neckline at the same time. This one just has a very narrow facing for the neckline, and then I have used bias binding to finish off the armholes, which I do like as a finish, but I think if I have to have a facing, which I kind of do unless I want to fully line this top, which I don't, I think I will prefer a all-in-one facing, because there's more chance of that one staying down and staying in place than the kind of like these facings that it doesn't matter how much you understitch them and tack them in place, unless you sew them down the whole way around, they want to pop out. So this was top number one. It was an experiment. I really like how this one has come out. As I say, I'll probably take this one on holiday with me. It's that kind of top, but I do want to revisit the pattern to make some tweaks to it, because I think I'm going to like this one so much that I want to make quite a few of them. And I got this top out of something like 60 centimeters of fabric. I mean, there's not a lot of it, so that's not really that much of a surprise, but it does bode well for a lot of the shorter cuts of fabric that I have in my stash, and it's the kind of silhouette that I like wearing, and it would look really good with all the high-waisted skirts and trousers that I have. So I want to perfect this pattern. This one is not perfect, but I will wear it. Then I moved on to camisoles. So we have a whole bunch of camisoles here. Some of them are more successful than others. So the first one, and actually the only one I have officially worn since I made it, is the Ogden Cami. This may not be a popular opinion, but this is not my favourite thing. I like it. For me, I find it a little bit too boxy. Having said that, when I tuck it into something, then I really like it. This one is made straight up from the, there's no alterations on this one. I do need to make the straps on this about an inch shorter, which I have already done to the pattern. I went for, I can't remember the sizes, but there was a dramatic size difference. So there is a small amount of shaping around the waist, but not enough for me to feel comfortable wearing this untucked. But again, that's just my preference. So that's the Ogden Cami number one. I can see myself making more of these because it was really simple to sew. I do like the shape, and if I tuck it in, then I do like wearing it, and I can see it being a good layering piece, but it wasn't my favourite. Next we have the Misty Cami, which comes with two strap options, so you can either have the thick straps which do cover your bra straps. So the second one is the strappier option, and it has small straps that go from the shoulder to the back, and then it has 2 straps that cross over at the back. Getting the length of these right was difficult, and I don't think I have quite perfected it yet, but I have made this one up in a remnant that I had left over from a jumpsuit that I've made. It's a rayon from Indian Royal Treasures, and then this is exactly the same thing, a remnant of a jumpsuit, again from Indian Royal Treasures. I really like the Misty Cami top. It has a bust dart. I didn't interface the facings, so I think it's slightly more forgiving. I know Rachel from Stitched Up has made one, and she was really annoyed with the interfacing in the facings. It didn't work for her, but I think she's worked it out to make it so she's happier with it. Yeah, there is slightly more shaping because of the bust darts, but again, it is a fairly shapeless top, and I do appreciate that that's what camisoles are kind of meant to be. And again, I like this one when I tuck it in. I would never wear this one untucked, and same goes for the black strappier version. This one, again, I would never wear it untucked. I would wear it tucked into a high-waisted skirt or a high-waisted pair of trousers. Again, that's my personal preference. So there's those two. Then I have also made the Crystal Cove Cami from Itch to Stitch. This was a present, the pattern was a present from Duvelet, and this fabric is remnants from a McCall's 7537 dress that I'd made. I went by my pattern sizes and I ended up with kind of a very strange shaped pattern piece. It really, there was a very, I mean, you can see there's a lot of flare from the waist both to the bust and to the hips. And the nice thing about the Crystal Cove Cami is that it has the kind of crossover at the back, but that does mean that you can't tuck this one in. So I think going forward I would like to make myself another one of these, but I want to crop it so that it hits just below my natural waist, because I think I would wear this one then. Again, it would be a kind of holiday kind of thing, but I think it's a very pretty pattern, and I do like the crossover at the back. But again, I think it's just a little bit outside of my personal comfort zone, so I don't think I will wear this one. I think this one's going to get donated. And then the final one is the Camilla Cami from Tessuti. This one is slightly different in that it's cut on the bias. Again, this is the leftover viscose from one of my jumpsuits that I made ages and ages ago. It's from Indian Royal Treasures. It's a snake print one. Now this one, I loved how this turned out. Because it's cut on the bias, it skims the body and there is definite shaping around the waist. There are also 2 fisheye darts in the back panel to give more shaping as well, but I ended up with these weird little wings underneath the arms. So I've actually gone in and taken those out, and I have cut out another one of these, but I haven't made it up as yet, so I can't report back as to how successful that's been. But this cami I would definitely wear untucked because of the way that the bias gives it shape. So I think out of all of them, this is my favourite, and then the Misty Cami, and then the Ogden, and then the Crystal Cove. And the Crystal Cove is only last because of the detail from the back, and just meaning that it wouldn't be something that I would easily fit into my wardrobe and wear often. As I say, I think I probably wear it a lot on holiday, but it wouldn't be something that would be a staple that I would reach for. Whereas the Camilla Cami, because it fits the way it does, would look really good under other tops, which is kind of what these camisoles, what I wanted a camisole pattern for, and also look good worn untucked, like over jeans or something like that. So I think the Camilla Cami, if I can get rid of the little wings under the arms, is going to be my favourite out of them all. But it was really interesting making them all and comparing them side by side. That was a nice experiment. The thing that it kind of knocked me for 6 a little bit, because none of them were perfect and they were all wearable muslins, but I think making 5 things in a row and all of them needing tweaking was probably not the best way to do it. I should have probably made one, concentrated on perfecting the fit, and then moved on to the next one once I'd done that. But it did knock my confidence a little bit, so I kind of got a little bit stuck and I lost my sojo in the middle of the month. So I got some other things done. Then I decided that I needed a palette cleanser. I needed to make something else that I knew that I liked. And as I said, I had particularly designated April to be top month, but there isn't a tried and true top that I have at the moment, which I think is part of the problem. And what I want to kind of rectify is I want to find a tried and true top pattern so that it will be an even quicker project than my current palette cleanser, which is the Sew Over Eve dress, which is what I'm wearing here. So this fabric is from El Kilo in Lanzarote. I bought 3.5 meters of it, so I do have a nice amount left, and I'm hoping that I can get a Jennifer Lauren Hunter tank out of what I have left, although I do want to completely line the front bodice parts of that top, so I may not have enough because it means I'd need to cut 4 instead of 2 of the front bodice. But we shall see. At one point I was considering using this fabric as a lining for a coat, and I'm so glad that I didn't, because it has made the most glorious Eve dress. It is absolutely beautiful. I love, love, love the Eve dress. I have done a video reviewing the Eve pattern. I get asked about the changes that I have made to this pattern quite a lot. I have made some changes, none of them are particularly major or drastic. I have made some tweaks to the way that the construction of the dress goes together, so I have done a standalone video showing you all 8 of the Eve dresses that I currently own and talking you through all of the modifications that I have made to it. That video isn't out yet, but once it is, I will link it in the description bar down below, so you guys can go and check that out if you would like to. I am so pleased with this Eve dress. I think it's beautiful, I love it, and cannot wait to wear it out and into the wider world. So the final woven top, because I have a giant pile of t-shirts here next to me, the final woven top I have to show you is this wearable muslin of the Now and Then Evelyn pattern. Now I haven't done this pattern justice by any means, shape or form, because this is a wearable muslin, like I say, to try and test the fit, because I have bought some really expensive silk fabric from M. Rosenberg & Son to make this top with, and I wanted obviously to try out the fit before I cut into the £35 a metre silk. So I used this inexpensive chiffon that I got from the textile centre quite a while ago now. They won't have it in stock anymore. So the changes that I've made is, because it's sheer, I have added bias binding to the neckline. Now, I didn't take the seam allowance off of the neckline, so technically I should have turned the bias binding to the inside and stitched it down again to give the actual finish like the pattern envelope, but I didn't do that because of the gathering, and I didn't want to fuss with it because this fabric was not the nicest thing to sew with. Fun times. The other thing is that the Adrienne Blouse comes with a 1 centimetre seam allowance, which I knew, but I powered ahead and traced it out anyway. And I have done French seams, and I've done French seams with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, so this is slightly smaller than it should be. I traced the I think it's a size 14 here and a size 8 here. There are 4 dress sizes between the 2 sizes that I've traced, and I was lazy and I didn't grade out from the bottom here, so this actually fits in. This is very snug over my hips. The waist fits brilliantly, but the trouble is the waist is incredibly difficult to get over my boobs. There is a slit at the back for the back opening, which is supposed to be done with a facing. I did it as a continuous lap, and I think when I make my silk, I'm actually going to make it into a keyhole here, because the continuous lap doesn't work as well as I wanted it to. I mean, I am using 1 inch by 2 inch wide strips of bias binding here, so they come down to 1/2 inch, so it's probably bigger bias binding than I should have used, but the idea of trying to cut out and work with smaller bias binding in this fabric did not appeal. So yeah, so this is incredibly difficult to get the waist over my boobs. Thankfully boobs are squishy, so it does work, but it is difficult, so I'm not going to keep this one. I do like how this one looks, especially tucked in with jeans and some high heels. I think it's really nice, but I won't be keeping this one. I will be donating this one because, as I say, it's just that little bit too difficult to get on and off. So I want to go back, because I will be making this pattern out of my expensive silk. I want to go back and I want to, rather than grade it from the size of my bust down to the size of my waist, I'm actually going to use the size of my bust, which I think, like I say, is a 14 the whole way down. So I need to retrace it, and I need to retrace it anyway because I need to add the proper seam allowance so that I can do proper French seams without making the pattern smaller than it's meant to be. Yeah, I'm going to use the straight size, I think 14 for the entire way down, and I'm going to then add a channel in at the waist to put in 1 inch wide elastic to cinch it in at the waist. This You can make a belt to go with this, which I have done and I intend to do with my silk fabric, and I just think that that's going to give me the look that I want without having the issues of getting it on and off over my boobs. This one is beautifully finished, it's French seam throughout, you know, it's a really nicely finished top. Somebody's going to love it, it's just not going to be me, which is a shame because I do think this fabric's really pretty, but it was, as I say, it was a wearable muslin, and this has taught me all the things that I needed it to, so that I can go ahead and make the expensive one. Having said that, the next one is not going to be made with the expensive silk. I'm going to do another test run with another inexpensive fabric to make sure that the changes that I want to make work. The other thing that I did to this is I added 2 inches of length to the bodice so that this actually sat on my natural waist, and I added 1 inch of length to the sleeves, which I don't think I had to do, but I do like how the sleeves sit on me now. So this is the Now and Then Evelyn blouse, and I'm really pleased with the wearable muslin, and I know what I want to do to make it work for me with other fabrics going forward. And then we have more successful makes. I've got t-shirts. I've got 10 new t-shirts, which I'm really excited about. So the first one is the Adrienne Blouse from Friday Pattern Company out of the Leafy Tropics viscose from Lady McElroy, but I got this from Sherwood Fabrics. I absolutely love this. I think it's beautiful. Actually, working with the print, I found out that there is a tiny, because I thought it was just all the greens and whites, but there is a tiny speck of fluorescent pink in there as well, which I like, and I do have some fluorescent pink shoes, so I shall be teaming it with those too. So there's the Adrienne Blouse. Then we have the wanted t-shirts. So I made one in black, in bright yellow, in hot pink, in a grey marl, and in white. And I'm really pleased. Oh, I'm going to turn this around because otherwise you're just going to be blinded by that white colour. I am really pleased with these. I love the neckline on this. These will, I mean, I have some in prints as well, but these will not be the only wanted tees that I make because, as I say, I really enjoy this t-shirt. They've all got the vintage length sleeves, which just comes just above the elbow, and I think is really flattering. So I am very excited about these, and these will go with lots of things in my wardrobe, which is kind of the point. I went from the beginning of this year having 4 t-shirts. I now have probably about 24, if not a few more than that. So wanted tees. I get asked all the time if I have done or can I please do a tutorial on the wanted tee, and there are 3 out there already. So Helen from Stitch My Style, Lifting Pins and Needles, and then also Tomcat Stitchery has done a tutorial on how to do the neckline of the wanted tee, because the pattern does only come in French. There is a 1 centimetre seam allowance, and once you've worked out how the neckline goes in, the t-shirt goes together the same as any other t-shirt that you've ever sewn. So it's once the neckline's in, it's a very simple make. But as I say, there are 3 tutorials on how to do the neckline on this t-shirt already, so I will link those in the description bar down below. Then we have a white gable, Leafy Tropics gable, grey marl gable, hot pink gable, and a black gable, all with short sleeves. So we're coming into the warmer months. I have a black gable in this viscose jersey with the full wrist length sleeves, but I decided that I also would like a short sleeve t-shirt in this pattern. I really like this pattern. Let's put the Leafy Tropics on the front because that's more interesting, isn't it? So yeah, I had 1.8 meters of the Leafy Tropic fabric, and I got the gable, short sleeve gable, and the Adrienne Blouse out of that 1.8 meters, which I'm very pleased about. This pattern actually fit me pretty much straight out of the envelope. I did grade between sizes, but I didn't have to add any length to the torso or the sleeves, which is unheard of and kind of makes me want to try some more Jennifer Lauren patterns. I have tried the Hunter Tank, but I want to try some of the dresses as well, because it kind of bodes well that they've perhaps drafted for a longer torso. Perhaps? I don't know, let me know in the comments down below. Have you made any of the Jennifer Lauren dresses? But yes, I love the gable t-shirt. I really like the neckline. I think it shows off necklaces really well. I know some people have commented that they would find it uncomfortable to have that much fabric at that high around your neck. I have to say, because these jerseys are so soft, I kind of think you get away with it. I don't notice it, I don't find it uncomfortable, and I have made it out of cotton jerseys and these viscose jerseys. Yeah, I don't find it uncomfortable, but then that's me, so you do you. But yeah, I'm very pleased that I have got all of these made. These ones I have actually shortened by 3 inches. The other pattern, the other t-shirts that I've made were a bit longer, which I do like, but I also find it quite difficult to tuck into skinny jeans. So I wanted some t-shirts that were slightly easier to tuck into skinny jeans, hence shortening it. It also means that I'm not using quite so much fabric. Yeah, that's the last of my April makes. So I made predominantly tops that I think I kind of cheated. I did use some new to me patterns, so the McCall's 7542, the Ogden Cami, the Misty Cami, the Crystal Cove Cami, and the Camilla Cami, and then also the Adrienne Blouse were all new to me patterns. I need to tweak all of them, but that's fine. That's totally fine. I mean, the Misty Cami, the only tweak I need to make was the length of the straps, and same with the Ogden really. But yeah, the Crystal Cami I want to crop, which I have done, and then the Camilla Cami I need to take the wings out, which I have done and cut one out, but I haven't had a chance to make it up yet, so I'm going to see how that goes. And I did film the process of altering the pattern, so now I just need to see if it actually works, because I think all I did was chop off the wings, so I don't know if it's going to work. We shall see. Yeah, it wasn't the prolific month that I hoped to have. I haven't got to as many new patterns as I would have liked to, but I think, yeah, it's still been a productive month, and having lost my Sojo, I think this was definitely the way to get it back. And I was talking to you guys about that in one of the waffles actually. It was just like, what do you do to get your Sojo back? I've always advised a palette cleanser project, something either quick and easy or something a little bit more involved like this, but that you know that you love and you know you've perfected the fit on, and that you know once you've finished it it's going to look beautiful and it'd be something that you love. That's always been my way of trying to get my Sojo back, because I do find myself getting to the point where if I have made a project and it hasn't worked out perfectly, or I've made a few projects and they've not come out the way that I had envisioned in my head, I do find myself getting a little bit kind of stuck on things. I think the other thing as well is, if I had my pile of border print fabrics out ready to go for May, and there's so many in there that I'm excited to work with, and because I hadn't put the hard work into the tops to get the tops to the point where I know that they fit, I wasn't as excited to work on those, because there's more work involved than it is with some of those border prints, because some of the border prints are going to be dresses that I know fit me and I've made, and they're going to be great. And so I think I had set myself this goal of May is going to be border print month, so I can't touch those until then, and then they were just sitting there looking at me and I really wanted to. So yeah, I think maybe going forward, because I still have a whole bunch of tops that I want to try. The Clara blouse from Now and Then, the Evelyn and the Josie from Experimental Space, the Ariel from Deer and Doe. Yeah, there was loads of blouses that loads of top patterns that I still really want to try, and I will try. I think what I'm going to do is maybe sort of chuck one of those in every couple of weeks and try and work on it like that, because I do need more tops in my life. I really do, because I have so many dresses and so many trousers and so many skirts, but I don't have very many tops. I now have lots of t-shirts, which is great, but I would like some woven tops as well. So I think going forward, that's what I'm going to do, is rather than throw myself an entire month of brand new patterns that need lots of troubleshooting, I think I'm going to try doing the monthly sew along. I've got a lot of those to catch up on. I think about 4 of those to catch up on, but I'm looking forward to all of them. Then a tried and true pattern, so like an Eve or a 9357, that's another TNT. I really like how that one's turned out. Do want to tweak that one a little bit. I want to try adding double darts, but when I came back to look at the actual pattern, the dart is actually pointed above the apex, because a lot of people were saying the apex was way too high on me, and I will show you guys the pattern piece, because when you look at it, the point of the dart is actually going over the apex, and that's how they've designed it. So I'm going to try and make the dart pickup, I'm going to split it over 2 darts, because I ended up with very pointy points on my darts, which is fine, and I think I can get away with it, the 2 that I've made, but I think I can make that better. So I have some white and white, purple and green polka dot fabric that I'm going to tweak the pattern and try it out before I try it out on one of the border prints that I have over there, because I'm excited about that dress, but I think that will help make the darts less pointy. Anyway, I'm getting off on a massive tangent here. The overall takeaway from that is, like I say, is rather than throw a whole bunch of brand new patterns right at me, I think I'm going to kind of try and intersperse them in between makes that I know are going to work, because it is really nice to make something knowing that you're going to have a win at the end of it, rather than a whole string of fails. I mean, fails is a strong word, because they weren't failures, because they taught me the things that they needed to teach me to then make the next one better. But yeah, April was not as prolific as March. Let's just leave it there, shall we? Let me know in the comments down below which is your favourite. Mine is this. I love this so much. I'm so pleased that I was so pleased that I used this fabric. Mum came up to help me pick it. I was going to use something else, and then yeah, she saw this one and she reminded me about it, and I love it. I'm so pleased with it, so yay. Anyway, that's a lot of waffle. So I hope you have enjoyed today's video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, and I will see you again very soon. Bye!